3017, good evening.
These are the Hickory Hounds News and Views.
This is the Hickory Hounds News and Views for June the 1st, 2025. Across the Foothills Corridor, something deeper than economic data or development announcements is unfolding. It's not explosive, it's not dramatic, but it will have lasting effects. While our attention drifts toward new subdivisions and data centers, we risk missing the larger story that we are living through a structural handoff, an era of local self-determination slowly giving way to something more centralized, more automated, and where decision makers don't care about the lasting effects on the communities like ours. We're just numbers and statistics to them. A few weeks ago, I asked, the dirt is moving, but what are we really building? WBTV just reported on questionable new home construction across the Carolinas, and now we're watching the dirt settle into foundations that may not last. The metaphor couldn't be clearer. Meanwhile, former Google CEO Eric Schmidt tells us AI will soon demand 90 gigawatts of energy, more than the output of 90 nuclear plants. That's not science fiction. That's now. And here in North Carolina, where server farms are already appearing like utility outposts, we need to ask, who's powering what and who benefits? Because here's the truth. No one's packaging this information into a press release. The economic engine of this state is recalibrating. And too often that recalibration writes off communities that built the original machine that made this place go. The Foothills Corridor, from Marion to Valdese to Lenoir, was once the backbone of American industry. The people who live in places like this have a vested interest in seeing them succeed. They aren't going to just stand by while Washington, Raleigh, or some Fortune 100 executive writes them off. These places have rich histories, and it's time to stop selling them out. This week, we began framing the next stage of that conversation, not around nostalgia, but around leverage, not around blame, but around visibility. The communities of the foothills want to be respected. People are tired of decision makers and their "what have you done for me lately" attitudes. Too many times these usurpers demand Gollum-like subservience to their personal cause. All people want is to be allowed to live with the true American spirit, which is built upon personal space, independence, and dignity. If you don't respect people and what they do for you, then eventually you will reap the harvest of what you have sown. Illegitimacy begets illegitimacy. They're asking to be seen for what they are, for what they offer, and for what they still hold. The ability to anchor a future that isn't a shallow, fragile foundation at its core. For now, here is Rachel AI to speak in depth about what's going on around here.
This is Rachel AI speaking on behalf of the Hickory Hound. Across the Foothills Corridor, a region once known for its industrial ingenuity and cultural cohesion, a quieter story is unfolding. There are no headlines, no emergency declarations, and few camera crews. But, if you listen closely, a deep structural shift is taking place, one that speaks volumes about what happens when the national spotlight turns away. Once the backbone of American manufacturing, towns from Lenoir to Valdese anchored a post-war economy with furniture, textiles, and hard-earned stability. Today, many of those same towns are navigating an uneasy transition. The mills are gone. The jobs that replace them rarely offer benefits, let alone generational security. And the connective tissue of civic life, from local journalism to youth sports leagues, is thinning with each passing year. This is not a story of collapse. It is a story of what lingers after momentum leaves. Many communities in the corridor still bear the physical marks of a more prosperous era. Wide brick main streets, high school auditoriums, downtown facades built to last. but the economic engine that powered them has been redirected, first offshore, then toward metropolitan hubs. Charlotte and Raleigh, boom. The corridor adapts, but adaptation is not the same as progress. Infrastructure tells part of the story. In places like Granite Falls and Morganton, sewer systems date back to the 1950s. Broadband remains inconsistent in outlying areas. While major cities invest in smart grids and multimodal transport, foothills towns are often left to patch what they have. Population trends reveal another dimension. While some counties have stabilized or seen mild growth, much of it is retirement-driven. Young adults, especially those with degrees or ambition for high-wage sectors, often relocate. The communities left behind maintain a sense of identity, but must do so with fewer hands and aging volunteers. Public governance reflects the strain. With declining revenues, towns face hard choices. Maintain aging infrastructure or invest in future-facing projects, fun parks or broadband. There are no easy answers, and in many places, no coordinated plans. Counties often work in isolation, despite shared challenges. Yet, beneath the quiet, something persistent endures. It can be seen in local farmers' markets, in volunteer fire departments, in the slow but steady work of community colleges offering upskilling to those transitioning from fading industries. There is resilience here, not romanticized, not performative, just steady. And there is opportunity. Healthcare has emerged as a key sector, so have niche manufacturing and heritage tourism. In Valdese, a renewed focus on Waldensian history has sparked modest economic renewal. In Hickory, downtown revitalization is being attempted through streetscaping and business incubation. These efforts are real, but they exist within a context that remains structurally imbalanced. Too often, regional strategy is reactive rather than proactive. Grants are pursued without alignment. Economic development is defined by outside recruitment rather than local incubation. And coordination between towns, despite common interests, remains limited. This leaves a corridor of communities working hard, but often working alone. What they need is not charity, not saviors. What they need is recognition of their worth, of their strategic position between the Piedmont and Appalachia, of their potential as more than logistics hubs or discount retirement zones. What they need are partnerships that value place-based knowledge and localized stewardship. The story of the Foothills Corridor is not over, but it is at risk of being written by people who have never lived here, or worse, forgotten altogether. As state and federal policy shift toward regional investment, now is the time to ensure these towns are not afterthoughts. They do not ask for pity. They ask to be seen clearly and dealt with honestly. As the state looks to the next phase of economic development, the quiet durability of the Foothills Corridor deserves a seat at the table. Because in a world chasing speed and scale, there is strategic value in communities that still know how to hold the center. Now, back to Commander Shell.
So as we look around at the fast builds, the server farms, the polished headlines of progress, we have to ask, progress for whom and at what cost? The Foothills Corridor isn't trying to be flashy. It's trying to be functional. It's trying to endure, not with marketing slogans or outside applause, but with quiet effort and earned resilience. That's the story we've been telling in the Communities of the Catawba series. And this Tuesday will bring that series to a close with the final installment. These aren't just stories of place, they're signals. They remind us of who we are and what we stand to lose if we let others define us from a distance. The future is coming. The question is, will we shape it or be shaped by it? This is News and Views. I'm James Thomas Shell. Stay grounded, stay sharp, and stay tuned. Y'all come back now. You hear?